Students, today we are going to study about NCERT class 6 chapter number 6 history, title as new questions and ideas. In this chapter we are going to talk about predominantly of the thinkers that came over a period of time who were trying to find out different answers to different questions and the real meaning of life. So the story of Buddha begins that out of when all these changes were happening, when everybody was trying to find out the answer to different changes in the society, the true meaning of life, so was Buddha wanted to. So he decided to find his own path of realization, because he eventually found out that this process, because on his journey to find out the real meaning, the true meaning of life, he went on on foot walking to different places. He met different thinkers, but he could not find eventually he understood that if he wants to find the real meaning, the answers to different questions, he has to do it himself. So he decided to find his own path to realization. For this he meditated for days on end, endlessly, under a peepal tree at Bodh Gaya in Bihar, and then he went to Sarnath, where he taught for the first time. So this is the Bodhi tree. This is actually a peepal tree because Buddha sat for meditation under this tree, so we call it Bodhi tree. It is under this Bodhi tree only he attained uh, realization. And then when he attained enlightenment or realization, he was known as Buddha, or the wise one, the one who has awakened, the one who has found the meaning, found the answers to different questions of the changes of the society, of humankind, of human behavior. Now these are very important places listed here when it comes to life of Buddha. He was born in Lumbini, which is in present day Nepal. He was born in a Sakya Gan. Gan we have done in the last chapter also, that Ganas did not have a single ruler. Many rulers collectively used to rule. They did not have a single king. Now Bodh Gaya is important, which is in present day Bihar, because this is the place where Buddha attained enlightenment. Now Sarnath, which is near Varanasi, this is important because Buddha here taught for the first time, and always he traveled on foot, going to meet people to different places. And then Kushinara is a place where he left for the heavenly abode. Now coming to the teachings of Buddhism, Buddha said that life is full of suffering and unhappiness. And now what was the reason for this unhappiness that people have? It was their people own desire and craving for things. Because if you have a small car, you want a big car. If you have a small toy, you want a bigger one. Okay, we are not never ever satisfied. This is a craving. We are having endless desires. We are not never ever satisfied. So this thing that we want more and more of everything, Buddha termed it or described it as thirst or tanha. Okay, and the solution for this can be the solution for this could be removed by moderation in everything. That was the solution to this, that we have to restrict our cravings. So Buddha said that we have to hold our own thirst, our cravings for different things. Now he also taught people, there were the many teachings also, he also taught people to be kind, to be respectful, to give respect to others, including the animals. And he said that the result of our action, whatever we are doing, whether it is a good karma, good action, good deed, or a bad deed, this will affect us in both our this life and the next life also. And that means in Buddhism they believed in life after death. Now the language in which Buddha used to teach was the language of ordinary people, which is Prakrit, so that whatever his teachings were, whatever the messages he wanted to convey, he wanted to talk with people so that people are able to understand. Now there's a very famous story given in your book about this, and this is a very famous story about Buddha, and this is the story of Kissa Gautami. Now she was a lady whose son had died, and she was so uh, uh, deeply in pain by the death of her son that she carried her son in all over the city, asking for give him life back, asking for life back for her son. So a very kind man took her to Buddha, and there Buddha says that I will bring back life to your child provided you get me a handful of mustard seeds. She said, okay, I'll get you, but he said, my condition is that you will go and get it from a house where nobody had died. So she went from home to home, finding that if she could find any house where nobody had died, but wherever she had gone, somewhere mother had died, somewhere father had died, somewhere uncle, husband, wife, grandparents, somebody would was had died from any family. So eventually she realized that that the death is a natural process, it is a part of human life, and everybody is dealing with it. And Buddha also said that our karma only decides. So the karma, so he always taught in believing in good karma, because this will not only affect our present life, this will not only decide the fate of our present life, but in the life after this life also. So I've just told you, because they believed in life after death, that means they believed in the next life. So there were very many thinkers in this period who were thinking that there was something permanent, who actually believed that there was something permanent and which would be constantly be there even after we are dead, even after death. So they described it as Atman, okay, which is the individual soul, and this will be in in dealing with the Brahman, which is the universal soul. So ultimately they believe that both the Atman and Brahman were one. So this is the individual soul and this is the universal soul, and this is one. They are together. Now after this came Upanishad. So this Upanishads came in later Vedic period. After Rig Veda, the other three Vedas were written. They were also part of later Vedic period. So are Upanishads. So Upanishad, if you take it literal, the literal meaning is approaching or sitting near. So it is actually the record of these are actually the ideas which are presented through a simple dialogue. Dialogue means it's a conversation between the teacher and the student. Okay, and they are actually the record of ideas presented in the form of conversation between teachers and students. So dialogue means when they are the conversation between two people. So many ideas were later developed by a very famous thinker, Shankaracharya. Now Upanishad thinkers, who were actually Rajas and Brahmins more. So these were all the Upanishad thinkers were majorly these, but there we have few exceptions. Like we had a thinker named with Gargi. Okay, she used to participate in royal court. She was very well respected, and she used to participate in debates also, and very famous for her learning. She was a very well known lady of that time, coming as an exception. Then we had a poor person who was actually from the slave. His mother was a slave lady named Jabali, and the thinker name was Satyakam Jabala. So these two came as an exception in that period, where predominantly the Upanishad thinkers were Rajas and Brahmins. So the son of Jabali, Satyakam Jabala, he had a deep desire to learn about the reality like other thinkers. So he was accepted as a student. This is Satyakam Jabala, and he was accepted by a student, by a saint called Gautama as his disciple, as his student. And Satyakam eventually became a very good thinker of his time. Now in this period, Panani came. He is a saint who was a Gramanian. So what he did, he was a very big scholar of that time. He prepared a grammar for Sanskrit. Like we have formulas in maths, he actually prepared the formulas for Sanskrit. Like the vowels and consonants were arranged in such an order that they were like formulas like you have in mathematics and algebra. So he created formulas for the language Sanskrit. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe and watch the video again.